Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions.
I did so because the president indicated that he had a mandate.
Trump walked into what he thought was his victory lap, but walked out with his tail between his legs after Jasmine, Crockett, and Al Green turned the tables on him. The room erupted in boos so loud you could practically see Trump's spray tan melting off his face. Want to see the exact moment when Trump realized he wasn't the king of the castle anymore? That look of shock when he couldn't control the room is something we haven't seen since his Twitter account got suspended. Stick around to see how these two representatives just wrote the new playbook on dealing with political bullies. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Remember when Trump thought he'd walk into Congress like he owned the place? Well, that dream crashed faster than his failed casino businesses. There he was, strutting to the podium with that signature smirk, expecting his usual worship session from the room. Poor Donnie had no idea what was about to hit him. Within minutes, the Democratic side of the aisle transformed into a sea of disapproval. The boos rose so loudly that it felt more like a football game than a congressional session. You could practically see the shockwave hit Trump's face, his expression shifting from smug confidence to absolute panic faster than he can say fake news.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions.
Trump tried desperately to power through with his usual routine. I signed nearly 100 executive orders, he boasted, but the words barely registered over the cacophony of Democratic dissent. It was like watching a terrible comedian bombing at an open mic night, desperately clinging to his prepared material while the audience has already checked out mentally. The tension in the chamber grew thicker with each passing minute. Republicans applauded on cue like trained seals, but their cheers only amplified the contrast with the Democrats' vocal resistance. Actual governance seemed light years away as the political theater unfolded.
A 41-point jump.
Body language experts had a field day analyzing this mess. Trump's demeanor clearly shifted as he struggled to maintain his composure amid the overwhelming disapproval. His famous bravado started melting faster than his orange makeup under hot stage lights. Meanwhile, social media exploded with memes comparing the chaotic scene to everything imaginable. WWE wrestling matches, middle school cafeteria fights, you name it. Trump's presidential moment transformed into internet comedy gold within minutes. His big important speech became a punchline instead of a headline.
Counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, 27-point swing, the most ever.
Did Trump really get booed so badly he lost his cool? You bet your MAGA hat he did. His face turned a shade of red that clashed horribly with his orange foundation. The man who constantly brags about his approval ratings was confronted with very real, very loud disapproval happening right in front of his spray-tanned face. While Trump was busy drowning in boos, Jasmine Crockett had something far more devastating planned than just making noise. The ultimate insult to a narcissist isn't loud disapproval, it's complete indifference. And that's exactly what Trump was about to experience.
Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican.
As the Orange-in-Chief rambled through his fantasy land of made-up achievements, Representative Crockett made the kind of power move that speaks louder than Trump's entire Twitter history. She simply stood up and walked out, not with a dramatic flourish or attention-seeking tantrum, just a dignified exit that said everything without saying a word. The cameras that were supposed to be fixed on Trump's speech suddenly swiveled to capture Crockett's empty seat, a visual that's worth more than all of Trump's imaginary poll numbers combined. Trump's rhythm faltered mid-sentence. You could practically see the gears grinding in his head. Wait, someone's leaving my show. His face contorted into that familiar pout we've seen whenever reality doesn't match the fiction in his head.
Republicans just voted to censure Texas Congressman Al Green for interrupting President Trump's address to Congress.
And I wanted him to know that he didn't have a mandate to cut Medicaid. I did so because the president indicated that he had a mandate.
Meanwhile, Representative Al Green wasn't about to let Trump's claims go unchallenged either. He stood up and shouted directly at Trump, "He has no mandate to cut Medicaid. I have people who are very fearful. These are poor people, and they have only Medicaid in their lives." Green's words cut through Trump's fantasy bubble like a fact checker at a MAGA rally. When later asked about her walkout, Crockett didn't mince words. "I refuse to normalize this," she stated firmly. This wasn't just theater. It was a principled stand against dangerous rhetoric becoming accepted as normal. While Trump was busy pretending to be presidential, actual elected officials were taking real stands for their constituents.
Ever recorded a 41-point jump.
To restore order to the joint session. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum.
And let's talk about those approval ratings Trump loves to brag about. The reality, his net approval rating sat at a measly +1, compared to the average president's +27 at the same point in their presidency. That's like bragging you got a D- when everyone else got a B+. Congratulations on barely passing the presidency, Donald. Public reaction to Crockett's empty chair protest split predictably along political lines. Some praised her courage, while others clutched their pearls about respect. But one thing was clear, her walkout generated more honest conversation than anything in Trump's speech. Social media erupted with memes celebrating her courage, turning Trump's big moment into Crockett's spotlight. What we just witnessed wasn't just another political event, it was Trump's reality show presidency crashing into actual reality. Political analysts are comparing this embarrassment to Trump's greatest hits of public humiliation, noting how lawmakers are increasingly willing to challenge him to his face. The scene resembled a chaotic spectacle more than a dignified address, with the former president looking completely blindsided by representatives who refused to play their assigned roles. And that's the lesson Trump learned the hard way. In today's political arena, his old tricks aren't working anymore. Representatives like Crockett and Green showed that sometimes the most powerful statement isn't a perfectly crafted tweet or a rambling speech. It's simply refusing to participate in the circus. So next time Trump tries commanding attention, he should remember that while he was busy trying to be the ringmaster, the real power players were already leaving the tent. His confused orange face when reality hit will probably haunt his nightmares longer than the presidential portrait will hang in the White House.